Welcome back, everybody, to Thrashers Paradise. I am joined with a very special guest. I'm joined with Rick. He is, well, the only member of, damn it, already, Malice Divine.
Yes, Malice Divine.
See, I have issues pronouncing bands' names, but today I just forgot it in the blue.
It should happen, don't worry about
it. Yes, but we're here to talk about the self-titled album release due out on February 19th. Rick, from what I've read and from what you've mentioned, this album has been years in the making. What's it like to finally be at this ending process where you're now just promoting, doing the interviews, and getting ready for the release of your first creation?
Oh man, it's just an amazing feeling because like you said, this has been like many years in the making. I've been working on these songs for like at least like 2 or 3 years now, maybe even a bit longer. So, it's almost kind of surreal in a way, to have this, actually be able to like, go out into the world now, It's pretty awesome.
Now, because this album has been so many years in the making, has there been a lot of change in direction from the start of writing it to now when the product's finally about to come out?
Not really. Like, I've always been like very consistent with like the direction that I've been going in with my songs. So I'd say no, there really hasn't been like any change in direction, at least not yet.
Now that it's finally on the point of being released, are you still kind of like still in that phase where like, holy shit, my album's finally coming out?
Yeah, actually I am, like it's a weird feeling, because I've been working on this for like so goddamn long now, so like I said before, almost feels, so surreal because like this has been like, a dream of mine for like, forever now to have like my own solo project and to have like, my own album come out finally, it's really is a dream come true for me.
Now, with this album coming out, usually there are supposed to be really a release show or something to correspond with it. For you, because of COVID, with all that kind of being a bit of a damper on the whole live stuff and in-person interaction kind of thing when it comes to releasing the album, for you, does that kind of put a damper on it, or does it kind of help, I don't know, like give a new experience for this next wave of albums to come out this year?
Well, like, it is disappointing that I won't be able to do like a release show or anything anytime soon, but like at least you can still promote like online, which I've been doing like a lot lately. So I'm just gonna focus all of my attention on promoting the online because can't really play shows right now for obvious reasons, and it also gives me plenty of time to work on the second album too, which I'm already like well on my way to accomplishing. So hopefully like by maybe sometime later in the year, I'll have the second album ready to be recorded, and then maybe have the 2022 release. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow, you've been a busy beaver.
Yeah, I got a lot of material in the works. Just like so many riffs I have stockpiled from like the past couple of years. So a lot to work with.
Now, from what has come off of what is to be released from this self-titled debut album of Malice Divine, for you personally, which one did you find the most difficult, whether it be writing or recording it throughout the whole process?
Oh man, that's a difficult question because a lot of the songs are pretty difficult actually. I'd say there's I think the song In Time, actually, the single that came out, was actually one of the more difficult ones to get prepared for because, it's a pretty long piece and like there's a lot of, really difficult, parts to like, perform, especially with the guitar solos. So that took like really like a lot of time for me to make sure, I had like down tight enough in order to record. So I'd say out of like recording wise, I'd say that one was probably like the most difficult to record. And I think probably also the song Malicious Divinity, which is going to be the next single, was also another one of the more difficult ones to prepare because that one had some really tricky parts to it as well, as you guys will see, when it comes out in about a week and a half.
Ooh, very exciting time now. As you mentioned earlier, you did release a guitar and vocal playthrough video for the song In Time. For you, what made you in particular want to pick In Time as that first release for the whole world to know what Malice Divine sounds like?
That's a good question. I just feel like that song really encapsulates, all like the different like aspects of the sound that I'm trying to create with Malice Divine. Like, has plenty of different influences ranging from technical death metal to melodic black metal, a lot of shredding, even some classical guitar stuff. A very like wide range vocal style too. So I think what really made me decide to have that be the first single from Malice Divine is the fact that it really is like a very like diverse song, and I really think it captures like all the different sides, or as many different sides of Malice Divine as possible within just one song.
Excellent. Now, we keep bringing up your band name or the project's name, Malice Divine.
Yeah.
Where did the origins of that name come from, and how did you come to the final decision of naming it Malice Divine?
Actually, funny story about that. I was actually before I settled on any like name for the project, I was talking to a good friend of mine. Actually, we were just having a conversation about like potential like different like band names that I could use for the project, and I guess I decided to settle on Malice Divine because I felt like it really encapsulates like the whole picture of like what I'm trying to go for with like both like the music and the lyrical themes. Because like lyrically, I'm dealing with like very like spiritual and esoteric type of concepts, and musically it's obviously very like aggressive and in your face and stuff like that, right? So I figured like if I have name like Malice Divine, it shows that like I'm talking about pretty like spiritual and esoteric kind of things, but at the same time it's not going to be like a very like soft kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make sure that like it just really encapsulates like what I'm trying to go for, like in the bigger picture of things.
Awesome. Now, as it comes to the bigger picture of things, do you see Malice Divine evolving maybe to a full performing live band, or do you think for the next couple of years you just want to keep it as your own little solo project just for now?
Well, it's definitely going to keep being a solo project, but I definitely do want to get a live lineup together, for when the time is right. Who knows what that's going to be, because, there's no shows in sight, But yeah, I definitely do want to play live with Malice Divine, because I think like the songs would really translate like incredibly well in a live setting.
Excellent. Now, for you personally, I just gotta know, what was the main idea when it came to the concept for the artwork that corresponds with this album?
The main concept?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, like that was one thing I was really struggling with, for like a while now. I wasn't really sure, like what like I would go with like for album artwork, So I reached out to a really good artist that was recommended to, and I showed him some examples of artwork that I really like. Like I showed him Dissection's Storm of Lightsbane, Revocation's Deathless, the latest Uwada album,
Okay.
and as you can tell from like all those albums I just mentioned, like the color scheme is very much like based around blue,
Mm-hmm.
and like different shades of blue and stuff like that, right? So I guess he is pretty much like went off of like that kind of thing, and then he came up with that, and I thought it was an amazing piece of art. So it's like, yeah, that's definitely going to be the artwork for sure.
No, I gotta tell you, it is truly stellar and makes this album that much more intriguing because, as we all know as metalheads, the artwork plays a huge part in purchasing it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like even for me, like there was like so many albums that I came to love where I was initially like attracted to them by like the album artwork and the logo and stuff. So it's really like a hugely important thing, you know, for like marketing yourself and getting your name out there is your artwork and your visuals.
Now, as we just talked about marketing wise, could we expect a few little presents to come out alongside this release on the 19th? Jesus, why did I struggle so hard with remembering 19th?
As for like any little presents, well, not really so much like on the exact date of release. Oh, however, like there are some more promotional videos coming out soon, like for the Malice Divine single that I already mentioned. Like there's gonna be a lyric video for that, and then on February 5th, there's actually gonna be a second playthrough video coming out for a song called "Triumphant Return," and then of course like the full album on the 19th of February, and there's gonna be like some merch gonna be released soon as well. And then some other plans I have for after the album. So there's definitely, you know, other like, you know, little presses coming along, you know, around the time of the album release. But not so much like on the exact release date, you know. I'm trying to, you know, spread it out as much as I can.
Of course, which makes a lot of sense because you don't want to just contain everything so close to it. You want to spread it all out so you can get the proper amount of time for everyone to appreciate each step.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because you don't want to, you know, like release like the whole thing, you know, right away. Because then people, you know, hear the album and then, you know, after that, you know, like if they just do it like all at once, there's nothing else really to talk about, you know. So to be blunt about it, like yeah, you gotta, you know, spread it out, you know, as wisely as you can.
Yeah, you gotta build up. You have to get the anticipation high.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm working towards.
And speaking of the build-up and the anticipation, just after just releasing the video for In Time and the song being out into the world now, what has been the overall general thought from your listeners about it?
Well, everybody seems to really like it. You know, I noticed like from a lot of the comments that I've seen on it, like they really appreciate like how dynamic of a song it is, which is what I was going for. You know, I saw like a lot of comments saying that's, you know, very catchy and very melodic, as well as very dark. You know, so they seem to really get, you know, like what I was going for with the song. And overall, the reception has been incredibly positive so far.
Excellent. Now, as you mentioned a bit earlier into this nice little conversation we're having, you are already starting to work on the next chapter in the Malice Divine story. For you personally, when do you think the time will be okay? Chapter 1's ending. It's now time to get hardcore into Chapter 2.
Well, we'll see how it goes, like, you know, within like the upcoming year. Like, I'll see like how the reception is, you know, for the whole album when it comes out and like with the following months after its release. But I'd say probably by like maybe mid to late 2021 would be, you know, really time to really, you know, buckle down and really focus hard on the second album. Because right now I'm balancing, you know, working on the second album and, you know, trying my best to promote the first one. Mm-hmm. And, you know, since like the first one hasn't come out yet, obviously, you know, promoting that's going to be a higher priority right now. But I'd say by like mid point of the year, then I can really, you know, make sure I get all the songs for the second album down, you know, exactly as I want it. And then hopefully start recording it like by the end of the year or maybe early next year. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. And now two more questions to ask you. With a scene as huge as the Toronto scene, which is the area you are in, do you think Malice Divine, 5 years down the line, will be a prominent player in the scene, or do you think you're going to be fighting still for that spotlight?
That's a really good question. I hope that we would be, you know, a prominent figure in the scene, you know, because like I'm very determined to, you know, take this as far as I possibly can. And, you know, I have a very strong vision in mind of what I'm going for. And a lot of people seem to, you know, be really like latching onto that, you know, quite strongly so far. So, you know, with the momentum that I got going right now, I can definitely see Malice Divine becoming a very prominent figure in the Toronto scene for sure.
Excellent. And one last question to ask you, because we ask this to all first-time guests here on Thrashers Paradise to ensure that they do know their metal knowledge. Who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Trick question. Lemmy is God.
That is correct. Do you know what movie it's from?
I forgot, to be honest. I can't remember the name.
It is all good, and it's Airheads.
Airheads, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a classic one from the 90s.
Yes. It's sad when the 20-year-old thinks it's the greatest movie ever.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on Thrashers Paradise to talk about the Malice Divine self-titled release due out on the 19th of February. Is there anything else you would like to say to the people watching this right now on YouTube?
Yeah, just thanks to everybody who checked out the singles and is interested, in the upcoming release. I really appreciate it quite a bit.
Awesome. And until next time, everyone, keep on thrashing.
Way through life as clear as day.